We will call the finance meeting to order. First up, we have approval of the July 2nd. Is that right? July 2nd? Minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. This is the July 16th minutes.
Well, you got 2 minutes. You should have the 2nd and the 16th.
I only have one.
It's here somewhere.
Okay, well,
I move we approve the July 2nd minutes.
Okay,
Second.
motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
And then let's approve them, also the minutes from our budget hearing on July the 16th.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. Okay, we'll find those other ones. All right, we have a couple more budgets to hear today. First up, we have Mary Walker from the Tourism Bureau. Been a long wait. Thanks for hanging in there. Oh, no problem. No problem.
I know you will all be disappointed that I'll keep my comments brief after today, and given that it's 11:15.
We'll manage to get through that.
Huh?
We'll manage to.
I know. It's disappointing. But, just wanted to briefly let you know where we are with our revenues. The first 5 months, we were actually down about 9%. We attribute that to all of the economic and job uncertainties, both on the state and federal level. However, I'm happy to report that the last 2 months we have made up that deficit and now are on par again with our 2024 revenues. The summer months are typically our busiest months, and then it goes spring, fall, and then winter. So we are now going into, we've had our June collections, now we'll be going into the summer, and of course fall, and then winter again. Most of you are aware of the US 40 westbound and I-70 westbound exit closure. I need to give a huge shout out to Senator Jeff Rotz. I was made aware prior to being a public knowledge that at one point they were looking at closing both exits off of I-70 US 40 westbound. So eastbound, westbound I-70, both exits leading into Richmond, Wayne County would have been closed. I called Jeff, and with his prompt action, working with NDOT, we are now down to just one closure, which is the I-70 westbound US 40 west, as well as then the exit to get back on 70 is still open. So that is amazing. Even though that may have some blips, it would not be as harming as having both closure at the busiest exit we have for Richmond. So huge shout out to Jeff for that. Some of you may or may not be aware, in spring, and again, some of this will be dealing with what the economy is at that point, cost of supplies, etc. But there is a new hotel property that is scheduled to be started spring of 2026. Town Place Suites, which is an all-suite property. It's the Marriott chain franchise. The owners will be the same owners that are the Holiday Inn, Hampton Inn, and Home 2 Suites. So obviously they feel that there's a market for that, looking at about 100 rooms. And again, that's scheduled to begin construction spring of 2026. But I certainly, depending on cost, wouldn't be surprised if that's waylaid. Just to give you an idea of those kinds of things. So I spoke, at least touch base with most of you with regards to our budget and our marketing plan, game plan. And would just like to entertain, we are keeping our budget the same as 2025. We've done some rearranging slightly, but given some of the unknowns that you're dealing with and that we're dealing with, we felt it was best to keep that the same. As most of you are aware of or should be aware of, The innkeeper's tax is our sole source of funding, and immediately when we hear the word tax, it's kind of a negative connotation like we've talked about earlier. But the one thing about this tax is that it's the out-of-town people who pay that, and so all of that is dependent upon consumer confidence, and all of those things go into travel plans. But we have decided to keep our 2026 budget the same, and the breakout would be as follows: administrative, $127,572, supplies, $11,025, other services and charges, $111,434, capital outlays, $48,005, and promotions, $914,699, for a total budget of $1,213,230. And I would be happy to entertain any questions that any of you may have.
So when was the loan on your building paid off?
That was paid off this year.
That's what I
Yay,
thought.
the end of last year, so woo! 20 years. That's and again, without councils working with us and the debt service and using the innkeeper's tax as the collateral to pay back, that would never have happened. And Ron's help certainly, we kind of go way back. So anyway, yes, so that's paid off now.
Mary, where are they building this Town Place Suites?
They bought land which would be just north of Rose City Nursery on West Eaton Pine.
Oh.
So it would be the land that would be kind of closest to Best Western, across from Lowe's, across from Chick-fil-A. So it'd be that vicinity. And they've already gotten they went to the zoning or Board of Works with the city for a variance for elevation so they can have a fourth floor. So they've gotten that done, and now it's just a matter of when.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Mary and her team do an amazing job of running the Tourism Bureau, and I just want to thank you for that.
Thank you. I have a great staff.
Yes. Every year we're like, Mary, buy a car. She's still driving her 2005, just so you know.
Gosh. Well, then I'll pay $750 for that. Just kidding.
Good thinking.
Huh?
Good thinking.
Well, yeah, frugal.
There you go.
You
She's awesome.
try to be at least.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Next up, Valerie Schaefer from EDC. You got hard copies? Okay.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Thank you for allowing me to come before you this morning to talk about the EDC's 2026 budget. We're really hoping just to continue on with our economic development program. However, we are proposing a modest increase as compared to our 2025 budget of just a little over 3%, or in total $26,339 as compared to our current operating budget. As you know, economic development, our work has broadened over the years. We're no longer just working on business attraction. We're also supporting quality of place improvements and talent development to ensure that we have a very holistic approach to economic development in the community. We've been very fortunate over my tenure at the EDC, almost 20 years, to have the economic development income tax. I realize that conversation will be changing in a couple of years, and we'll have to reevaluate that, but right now we've been very fortunate over the last year to see an increase in distribution from the edit tax. It increased about $11,000 a month over last year, so we're bringing in roughly about $2 million. That not only supports the EDC's operating budget, but it allows us to have funds for special projects like the Housing Accelerator Program, our Blight Elimination Program, supporting ready match efforts for the state's the IEDC's program. So we've been very fortunate to have funds for economic development, and I appreciate you all retaining those funds for our use. So in total for 2026, you have before you kind of a breakout by category. With that $26,000 increase over 2025, the majority of that is in personnel services, roughly $15,341 over this year, to account for very modest increases, and then also to account for rising healthcare costs as we continue to face. Within total supplies budget line item, overall decrease as compared to this year of $815. We're really trying to button up our supply costs. For other personnel, or I'm sorry, other services and charges, we didn't make much changes in that category with the exception of advertising and PR. We are proposing $72,000 for our marketing budget. Not only are we launching a new Home and Wayne campaign brand effort, we also need to revitalize the EDC's website, which is our main marketing tool for economic development. So we're budgeting for that in 2026. So in total, for total other services and charges, about $8,700 increase in that category as compared to this year. In terms of capital outlays, the only major expense that we have on the horizon is a new copier for the office. Ours is falling short and making a lot of errors. So we've decided to propose a purchase rather than a lease because we will save money over time. So capital outlays, total of $8,600 in that category, which is an increase of $3,100 over this current year. So again, total budget for 2026, $829,312.52, which is a 3.28% increase. Happy to answer any questions or talk more about the work that we're doing.
Does anybody have any questions?
Seems to be going well from what I see. I appreciate it.
I was just gonna say thank you, Valerie, for the job you do for Wayne County, because you do a phenomenal job and most people don't realize that, but thank you.
And usually some of your money comes back at the end of the year. You don't usually spend all your budget, so we
That's
appreciate
correct,
that.
yes. The money goes back to the consolidated edit fund
Yeah.
at the end of the year. And typically that ranges anywhere between, I'd say, $60,000 and $100,000. We come in under budget and those funds are returned. And we start over with a fresh budget every year.
We appreciate that.
Yes.
If we have no other questions, do you want to go on to your next, is Valerie doing the next
Spring Grove.
Spring Grove thing? Or is that the
Yeah.
commissioners?
Oh, okay. Let's do this together.
There you go.
Caught off guard here. So yes, Spring Grove has voted to enter into a 4-year economic development agreement and wanting to pay into our consolidated edit funds and support countywide economic development efforts. They did vote that in mid-year, and so there's been a question as to how do we go back in time and start collecting starting January 1? Do we start collecting at this point? That's the question at hand, I believe.
That's one of the questions. You all need to approve the agreement that would add them to the list of communities that are supporting the Consolidated Edit Fund. We've gone back and forth on this. The commissioners and council, it's typically the commissioners that enter into the contract, but for several years now, we've included council signing off so that you know what's going on. So Spring Grove has not been a member for a while, and we're welcoming them back to the fold. We've had a couple rejoin this year, so it's, I think, a commentary on the work that the EDC has done and that we have done through collaboration with the towns, through the HELP program, through the planning process that is going on right now. And so we're asking you to approve that. My feeling is that we can start as of the date of this contract. We wanted to keep it a 4-year contract, which is what everyone else signed for starting this year. As you all know, there's some question now as to whether edit will exist beyond 2028 or starting in 2028 going forward. There may be some tweaks there that will change how that works, but right now, it's slated to go away with all of the other local income taxes and be replaced with that new slate of taxes that we'll all talk about tomorrow night at the chamber meeting. So we're asking your approval for the contract for them to be included in participating with the Consolidated Edit Fund.
I will get you a written unit contribution agreement because normally those are approved in writing by the commissioners and by council. Council only executing to show their commitment to pooled funding, if you will.
It's got microphones. That one's nice. Yeah, all of a sudden, we start hearing Ron talk. Yeah.
So I'll make the motion that council supports whatever Ron said, the consolidated
Unit contribution.
unit contributions. Thank you.
I'll prepare it.
A second.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? There are none.
Is it to be retroactive to January 1, or are we going to do 3.5 years?
Aren't there usually like 3 copies of these things? We only just have one. Are there usually 3 copies to be signed of this kind of thing?
I didn't know you had one.
Yeah, we
It's
have.
it's the standard contract.
Okay.
They're
never
doing
mind.
it without you now, Ron. Okay.
We'll
All
get-
right.
We'll get additional copies for you to sign next.
So I have a question, if I may. What was the resolution of Hagerstown in renewing?
There is no resolution.
They have still
Not
not,
surprising, but
Yes.
they have not signed on.
thank you.
I do have one more thing to discuss, if that's okay.
Okay.
So the Wayne County Blight Program, we have received approval for $390,000 each from the Consolidated and County Edit funds to fund that program. Currently, we have drawn down some of the Consolidated Edit contribution to fund, reimburse the smaller towns in the city for the structures they've already demolished. And as we draw down those funds, I would just like some guidance as to how we balance the draw from Consolidated versus County Edit. I was thinking we could draw down all of Consolidated first and maybe do a transfer from County Edit so that it balances out at the end of the program, or if I can alternate from each account.
How does that work for your office?
Don't know.
Well, or we could transfer the money to the EDC from the county edit fund, and they can administer all of those demolition projects.
So all those projects fall within the total that we had approved, is that correct?
Correct.
Yes.
I don't think timing is a problem necessarily, if that's the question.
Well, it's really a question of whether we pay for those projects one at a time.
Yeah.
Or if we just move the money to the EDC and let them manage
That would
that
be the
project.
easiest.
They are doing it. Sarah Mitchell is handling the blight clearance program. And I think to have the money there makes the most sense. Val and I just kind of talked about this yesterday, so I haven't had a chance to talk to the commissioners about it. That's the thing that makes the most sense to me. I just want you to be in the loop. We can talk to the commissioners about it this afternoon, and I don't think there's urgency to
Yeah, you can
make
come
a
back to
decision
us
this
with a
morning.
proposal on exactly how you want to do that then.
We have a separate savings account set up just for the blight funds to keep it separate from our operating budget.
It would be better for me if you just wrote them a check and let them handle it. I would rather not be involved in how they're handling their business.
That sounds to be the simplest.
Yeah.
Okay.
You talk to the commissioners and then
We'll get back with you
get
on
back
that.
with us.
There's a transfer that involves the EDC. Is that on your agenda?
Yes, the grant.
For A-House Tool?
Yeah.
Could we go ahead and? walk
Sure, go
this
ahead.
up here? So the commissioners approve of the EDC board recommended paying this claim for A-House Tool, an incentive grant in the amount of
$32,500.
Thank you, $32,500. We thought rather than going through an additional appropriation process, that we could just transfer that $32,000 from the Renew Land Bank program. That's money that's already appropriated that will not be spent this year, and create a line item for a house tool, which would be line
36056.
Thank you. 36056, transfer $32,500, again, from Renew Land Bank, which is 36064, to an A-House tool line item.
Okay.
They
So-
have completed what they needed to complete for
Okay.
receiving the grant.
So do we have a motion, this is in existing Fund 4906 to create line item 36056, A-House tool. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. And then, are there any opposed? There are none. Then we'll handle the consolidated edit, transfer from 36064 to the new line 36056 in A-House tool, 32,500. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? There are none. All right, we got that all taken care of. Thank you. All right, Debbie Tiemann. She was here a while ago. There she is. If you would like to explain, remember in our budget hearings, we had a budget come up for $4,000 and we didn't know what that was. It was something that Simona found had to have a budget now, and it's actually her fund, and she can explain that to you.
So that fund is for redaction of social security numbers on every document that comes in our office. From each document, we collect $1 for that redaction fund. Currently, the cost per year for redaction is around $3,500. And that fund starts building up, and there's very little you can use that fund for. So there's also a clause in that law that says if there's an excess, we could move it to the Recorder's Perpetuation Fund, which will also supplement our salaries. So I'm just asking that $15,000 of that fund be moved over to the Recorder's Perpetuation Fund.
How much is in there, Debbie?
I think it's around 20,000 right
It's
now.
right around 20.
Well, I will make the motion. Are you ready for a motion? I'll make the motion that we make the transfer requested by Debbie Tiemann.
Do you have a second?
15,000.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Jennifer Womack.
Good morning.
Hi.
Just came before you, just have some transfer requests for, within my DOC grant for community corrections. So the first transfer I'd like to ask for is $5,000 from our FICA line item, which is 13650. We'd like to transfer that to drug testing and supplies. That should be enough to cover, enough drug screens to cover for the remainder of the year for both probation and community corrections department, so. The second request to transfer is also from our FICA line item, the 13650. That's the, to transfer to our cell phone and data plan. Don't have quite enough money in there for the remainder of the year, so we just asked to move $500 to that line item. Another transfer request of $2,000 from our perf line item, which is 13660, to our travel and training. DOC has made some new requirements in the spring for all the community corrections departments. They want to see all of the departments increase their training for the year. Transferring those funds will not quite get us to the end of the year, but it will help. So we may need to come back at the end of the year to maybe transfer more funds, but that makes us in compliance with DOC requirements. And the last transfer is just transfer $700 again from our perf line item to office supplies. Marcus Wright, our work crew supervisor, he does a great job in the community, taking his crew out, doing various projects throughout the community, and he just needs some more work crew supplies. So just ask that be transferred as well.
Okay. So we can just take all these 4 transfers all at once. Do we have a motion for that?
Before you do, on the one for the $500 request, I'd like to change that to $750. The $500 won't run us till the end of the year. It leaves them short $250.
Is there ample funds in that to transfer 750 instead of?
Yes.
Corey's saying no.
Wouldn't they know what's best for their own department?
Pardon?
Wouldn't they know what they have money allotted for?
They should, but I'm just telling you as auditor, they're gonna be short at the monthly rate we're paying that bill.
And so Jennifer, if you run short, much like in the travel and training, you would come back and ask for another transfer into the.
Correct, yes.
Why would you do that if you already know it's gonna be short?
Because it's my belief that it's up to the department head to manage their budget and not up to the auditor's office to make a determination on the transfer.
You and I disagree.
I respectfully agree to that. So I'll make the motion that we authorize the transfers as outlined by Jennifer in the DOC grant.
Second.
Motion and a second.
I just have one comment
Okay.
about Marcus, and I've seen him and his crew out, and they do a wonderful job. I couldn't believe the one area was all cleaned up, and I thought, what the heck? And it was Marcus and his crew. So pass that along to him. He does a great job.
Thank you.
All right, motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none.
I have one question.
Okay.
Do these transfers, has your budget request for 26 reflected the needs that you've corrected here? Or do you?
These are within a grant.
So DOC requires us to submit our budget by September 1st of every year. And so obviously that might be a little different when the salary ordinances and things like that come from county at the end of the year. So that's why it's kind of a discrepancy between, that time frame. So we just have to periodically do transfer requests because of the budget submissions.
So
So
are y'all at a fiscal year or calendar year with your grant?
a calendar year,
Okay.
yes.
I'm on that committee for the community corrections. She does a great job, and Adam and both of them are doing an excellent job dealing with what the state is changing on them and requesting it to be done. So I can say that they handled it very well.
Appreciate it.
I just wanted to add to, Jennifer did a good job explaining that, but all of the transfers that she's reviewing with you, prior to that, she has to review with the DOC, so they've already approved that. So sort of systematically, we do that level of review first before bringing that to you. So Mark, your suggestion would not have gone before DOC before Jennifer presented it today, so we couldn't have even made that request to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. That's all.
Thank you.
Adam and Queen. We're gonna be seeing a whole lot more of you, aren't we?
I think so. Thank you very much to council members for including me in your agenda today. Much like Jennifer, the request that I am making has to do with the Justice Reinvestment Advisory Council grant that our department has written for and received since 2015. The budgets for those are typically do in advance of the release of the salary ordinance. And so we do our best, but can't always account for where money might be best placed and needed, given how quickly we have to submit that budget to the DOC. So my request is to move money from drug testing, which is 22,131, into the line item that's 10472 that supports a probation officer's salary. Again, budgets for that are due so early in the year that we can't always account for exactly the amount that will be needed. But this would allow us to pay the salary of that probation officer for the remainder of the year.
All right, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, appreciate it.
We already did the one for A-House Tool, so Matthew Kane. Good morning.
Good morning, good
Is it
morning.
still morning? Yeah, it
It
is.
it is. Have a couple things for your consideration this morning. The first is a transfer request, $5,000 from one part-time employee line item to another part-time employee line item. We've had some FMLA and some wonderful availability from one of my part-time employees that significantly has decreased my overtime needs. But in doing so, there's about $2,500 left in her fund for the remainder of the year. So I would like to transfer from another employee who hasn't had the availability and is not working as often. So it's a simple transfer from one to another. That should get me through the rest of the year.
Okay, just quick, just to help me here. So that's just not under, each individual employee has their own line item?
If we have several, it's easier
Okay.
to keep track of. If we have several in a department.
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none. Thank you, Matthew.
Thank you very much. Also, for your consideration, we have received, this is kind of going along with our radio infrastructure project. We have received a quote from Emergency Radio Services, ERS, to relocate some of the services that are currently at the County Highway Garage location to include the County Highways radio system and their repeater and antenna and associated cables to the new tower that has been built, if you haven't been by there. It is up now. So it's a quote to move the county highways, equipment and services to the new location, new tower, and also moving the county's VHF, which will be the backup for this new system. I would like to keep some redundancy and a fail-safe for the county fire departments. God forbid the 800 system go down. We would still have some capability of communication with our volunteer fire departments. So this quote, while it's not a part of that radio infrastructure project, would coincide with it and kind of needs to happen concurrently. That quote was presented to commissioners last week, and they voted to accept it based on the funding source. The quote is for $74,074.09 from ERS.
And so when we presented this to commissioners, discussion took place that, as a reminder and a recommendation, that it would be paid for from the, what was it, the $2 million moved from ARPA to the general fund that commissioners and council agreed that we would jointly agree to on the utilization of those monies. And so the request or the recommendation was to use that pot of money for this purchase.
And the commissioners has approved that.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
I forgot
it
that
makes
part.
sense. How much is left in that pot? Because it was originally like 2 million, but I know we've
was 2 million.
several projects.
50,000. Now we have committed, there's about 1.7.
Oh, there is that
Between
much.
1.6
Okay.
and 1.7 that's left.
Okay.
I
Is
move we
that-
approve.
Second.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none.
If I could clarify, just very briefly, Barry alluded to, we moved money from ARPA to the general fund. Technically,
It
what
was
we
lost
did
revenue.
was, we had already paid for projects with general fund money, and we chose to instead pay them out of ARPA, which was perfectly acceptable to do, which put the money back in the general fund that originally came from the general fund.
Details, thank you.
Well, in
The
case
legal details, I
anybody from
appreciate
US
that.
Treasury is listening.
He's listening.
I wanna make sure they
This is
know.
being live streamed.
All right.
And then the last request I have, we have some anticipated costs coming up with this radio project, specifically materials, concrete and things of the sort, where it was my understanding, Barry, I may defer to you, there was a contingency funds that were removed from that project.
Now, if you recall that when we had to finalize the budgets with the ARPA dollars, those funds had to be committed to a project in which contingency was not a commitment, correct, Jeff? And so those, there was almost $100,000 in contingency that was removed from that project's budget with the agreement that those dollars to some extent would be restored as we move towards completion of the project. And so that ask of, we don't think it'll take the full 100,000 in contingency, but in talking with Matthew, we identified $50,000 for that potential work, which will need to be done, some ancillary electrical work and concrete, et cetera, at the tower sites in the coming weeks. I think that too, we talked about coming from that same pot of money as described by Jeff so eloquently.
And again, just to clarify, the contingency funds, we decided not to commit money to from ARPA because we don't know if we're gonna spend them or not. It's not, it's just in case. And so if we didn't spend ARPA dollars that were committed, then we would have to send them back to US Treasury. So we again, made sure that we were gonna spend every nickel of the ARPA dollars. So we moved some of this contingency to those general fund dollars with the joint agreement. And we discussed it and are willing to do that, but we just encourage us to not spend any more of those contingency dollars that are absolutely necessary.
And so the question would be that if we chose to restore those dollars for claims that Matthew would submit, they would be submitted to commissioners.
We can simply pay the claims. If we have an agreement, that's where we want to use it. We can pay those claims directly from the general fund, or we can do it for that matter, how we prefer it.
It's easier if you guys just pay it. Do we have an up to amount?
50,000, I think, is what we talked about.
And I hope Matthew doesn't have to come back for any more, but
Seriously.
we're not done yet today.
Hey, I saw some guys hanging off the top of those towers one day.
Oh, my
You could
word.
pay me $50,000.
I'm just glad that's not my job. That's all I'm saying.
Oh
Yeah.
my word! I was driving. I couldn't get a picture, but I looked. There's these little things hanging up on the top of that tower, and it was people.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
The
All right.
tower at Elliott Road is also up as
Really?
well.
They use a sky hook to put them up there.
Okay, so does everyone understand what's going on here? Do we have any other questions? We need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none.
Thank you very much.
Matthew will be back in the next few weeks after we meet with commissioners. If you recall back during the budget discussions going into this year, Matthew presented to us that his maintenance contract on the audio logger would be expiring in January of '26. And so we're beginning to kick that project off. And I think the obligation there was, there was dollars available in one time.
We talked about that.
So, once commissioners authorize us to move forward with that, because we've got to have that for some of these additional radio frequencies and channels that are going in, we'll be bringing that back to us.
Okay. That's what happens when you don't update for how many years? A lot.
The audio logger, in my defense, is only 5 years, but
No, but the
with
red,
the
this
added,
whole project. yeah.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just, we're fortunate to have ARPA dollars to fund all this. I don't think we could have done it
Absolutely, there's
without
no way. Yeah,
No.
yeah, I recognize that and appreciate it.
Thank you so much. We appreciate your work.
Of course.
And Barry's too.
Who's in here?
And Aaron's too.
All right, I think that's all that we have right now for finance. There's actually a meeting at 11:30.
Yes.
So we're gonna have to,
What's
adjourn
11:30?
the exit conference.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
State Board of Accounts, and we'll be meeting around the tables back here.
Okay, so we'll need a motion to adjourn
Move to adjourn.
Second.
before we say aye. Hang
Are we
on.
adjourning?
Coming back?
Are we coming
Are we
back
coming
or
back for budget discussions? or
we
are
have a
done?
meeting at 1:00 also?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're
So
done.
are we can we plan another day to meet for budget discussions or, because we really do need to go through it before we've got too much going on at workshop also, unless you want to stay till midnight that night.
No.
On the 25th, when we're here, could we, for
That'll be
that other
public
public
hearing.
hearing, can
Well,
we
no.
have a meeting after?
That's not gonna be a public hearing, right? The 25th that we scheduled today, that would be our final vote? Or is that still a public hearing too?
I'd recommend you invite public comment.
On the 25th as well? So the 20th and the 25th? Okay.
Yeah, because I'll advertise that as a public hearing.
Would that be a night we could
Start
also,
earlier.
we could either come earlier or
Yeah.
stay later?
Yeah, I can do earlier.
Since we're already gonna be here. Did we make that 6:00 for the hearing?
Yes.
Can we come at 4?
You make it whatever you want.
Yeah.
I mean,
Is everybody good to come at 4:00 that day? And then if we have to stay after a little, we could, but I think we can talk for a couple hours and be fine. Are you okay, Max?
Yes.
All right. So we will, at the special meeting on the 25th, we will also have budget discussion. So we'll have to advertise that
So you're saying that will be 4:00?
at 4:00. And then the meeting will start at 6. Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Of course not. Not to adjourn. All right, thank you.